fact, defends itself and tries to close ranks when someone does something which is a little inappropriate. Of course, I was married and I was active as a gay man.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, the bishop told me, if you're going to be active as a gay man, you must divorce your wife. Legal separation would not be enough. Because of her condition medically, I finally went ahead and filed for divorce in order to protect her insurance and mine, because if we had lost insurance through the church, I don't think with her dealing with Huntington's disease, we could have found insurance for any amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in assisted living by that time.
Mm-hmm. How else did this change your life in terms of how you saw the world socially, politically? I mean, obviously, we live in a very heterosexist culture and a very homophobic culture. So it's in some ways one could argue that it's a sort of a self-marginalizing act.
Yes, in many ways it is. My wife died in October of 2006. I moved from the city of Grand Haven, where we had lived at that point, to Muskegon. In Muskegon, I've had some connection with the Episcopal Church, but decreasingly. So I had a certain entree there, but increasingly my contacts socially in Muskegon have been with members of the gay community there, particularly the older gay people, because my partner had been there for many years and he knew all these people. It's been curious, at first disheartening, and now I think I just accept it. And I hear from practically none of the people in Ottawa County, some of whom I had known for 40 years. And I haven't gone down there to try to call on them, but that's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a little hard to accept that. My own blood family have been very accepting. My former wife's family has had nothing to do with me except an older sister occasionally since the divorce, and I can understand they're very conservative and I can understand the reaction. I've just come to accept change as in a way that I never understood. Change is going on all the time. And it's best not to be too fixed in whatever place one is at any time. And I'm very glad I came to and have acted as I have acted. I'm not proud of it, don't misunderstand me. It's not pride and it's not kind of a careless joy, but I feel good about who I am. And I have a very understanding, supportive partner, which helps.
Now, if one was to kind of use the lens of popular media looking at the LGBT community, I mean, disproportionately, and this is the case of even the heterosexual community in a sense, that it's mostly fixated on young people, people who are very, active, sort of the bar scene, around fashion, all those kinds of things. So I guess maybe two questions related to that. One is, how do you think that influences how people might see you as an older gay man? And then in terms of how they perceive what life for a senior citizen who's out and gay, what that means. We'll start with that, and then I'll follow up.
Would you rephrase one question?
Sure.
At a time?
Sure. I'm just curious in terms of, since the commercial media sort of disproportionately represents people who are part of the LGBT community as very young, and whether it's TV programs or movies or what have you, that the discussion tends to be around young folks who are self-identifying as LGBT. How does that affect you, how you perceive, how other people see you as an older man who has come out late, in terms of your identity? Does that affect you negatively, positively in any way?
Well, I haven't thought of what you asked. I haven't reflected on it. I imagine the vast majority of gay men, as long as they live, are desirous of the companionship of young gay men. But I think something similar is true of older heterosexual men. So there's that reality.
Mm-hmm.
I have felt that people whom I know, say in Muskegon, and not merely people in the gay community, accept me, I'm almost 83, as an older man who is gay. They don't seem to be threatened by me, at least the ones I know.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there are many younger gay men who seek and want the companionship of an older gay man. And I have a friend who is very much a senior who has a young companion, a young partner. At the same time, I have a friend who's in his early to mid-40s who was in a relationship with a man much his senior until that person died, and who is seeking, as a single person may, for an older partner. So there's that reality. But I've never felt that in the community, at a bank, at a restaurant, at a store, at an organization, then I'm really being evaluated by that media sense of youth. And I realize in myself, in my 80s, oh, it would be nice to be in a relationship with a young man. That would convince me I'm not in my 80s, that I'm young and still has hope left. You know, there's that kind of
Sure.
lack of realism that's there.
Sure. Well, in terms of the LGBT community, and you're in Muskegon, but I'm assuming you've had some interaction with folks in Grand Rapids as well. Because again, and we've heard this from other people we've talked to, that if you're not kind of a bar goer, that there aren't necessarily a whole lot of spaces or, physical places for people in the LGBT community to gather, apart from maybe each other's homes and so forth. That again, part of it sort of caters to maybe a younger crowd in some capacity. So I'm just wondering, what kind of support systems there are that exist that you found that have been helpful for you since you
Well,
came
I
out.
have found some support. Now, granted, there's the mileage between where I live and Grand Rapids through the network, which has its building on Atlas Avenue, where the city and East Grand Rapids kind of converge. And I found some real support from members of the network, both people who are there in the building, but in their organizations. My partner and I went rather frequently for a year or two to a group meeting every other month called Connections, which were men of different ages that got together at a watering hole for conversation and a drink for 2 hours in the evening. Then maybe some of them stayed on to dinner at that. And currently, my partner and I are in called Prime Timers Grand Rapids. Prime Timers are a national and international organization for mature gay men, though 40-year-olds are considered mature. And I'm going to a dinner tonight of that organization, and we've met some good guys through that, and it doesn't seem to be a dating service or where you go for a hookup. And they have been meeting several times a month for social get-togethers. They've gone to the concert several weeks ago that the Gay Men's Chorus of West Michigan put on. They've gone to organ recitals, museums, so it isn't just social, but those have been strong features. And then you may meet a guy or a couple, and then, as you say, they would begin to invite you to their home.
Mhm.
So there's some socializing
Mhm.
of that sort. But the network and prime timers, I've never gone to the square dancers or the front runners or things like that, but there are the square dance group, and they also do line dancing, and then the front runners. Those are very meaningful organizations for Sunday Game Head.
Are you doing any of the line dancing?
No, I wouldn't dream of trying. No, I've got neuropathy, I can't do that. And
Okay.
I don't care for line dancing,
All
but
right.
I'd like to stand by and clap for those who do.
All right.
Square dancing, I used to do in the old days.
Okay. I mean, obviously, part of the history of the LGBT community has been a history of struggle for more equality, for rights, for battles against discrimination, so forth. And that obviously continues today, despite the gains that have been made. Have you, since you become an out gay man, have you felt in any way compelled to be actively involved in campaigns or efforts to kind of further that struggle along? And if you have, could you talk about that?
For a while, the Triangle Foundation, which I think its offices are in Detroit, had an office here